What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris C. Pups and Rock, bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge show, where we help you buy, sell, maintain, take care of, and repair all of your vehicles. On today's show, we're just going to quickly talk about all the layoffs that we've seen recently in the automotive industry. Tesla, Stellantis, all the situations that have been going on with the EVs, all of the reportings of low sales and automakers not meeting their quota. And it's of course it's a major problem. Anytime any single person loses a job, no matter what kind of job it is, it's a situation. It's a horrible thing. It's going to mess up their lives in horrible ways. And I always hated, to see how some of these people find out how they lost their jobs and the not getting advance notice so that you could prepare, and do certain things that would help you, when this happens to you. It's happened to me several times. I've been laid off. I know if it's happened to several people I know, and it uproots you. It really uproots you. It really it's not a great thing for anybody. It's never a good situation. Never it is. I can never understand somebody saying that it's a good situation. I was watching one of my favorite content creators the other day, and it was a young lady on there who she was getting laid off or terminated from her position. There was a position that they had just created, and I guess she was having a bad time at the job. But the beauty of her situation was that she had lots of ample time knowing that she was getting laid off. And most of the people that we're going to speak on today did not get that same amount of time to know that they were getting these layoffs. So, real quickly, we're going to jump into a couple of layoff stories that I've seen over the last couple of days. We're going to watch a couple of videos, and I'm going to get you guys out of here. Oh, and we're going to touch on, at the end, we're going to touch on collision and collision repair. Had a customer had a problem with that. Want to touch on that in this video as well. So first off, we're going to check out some intricate things happening over with Tesla. As you already know, as I've already spoken about, Tesla has started massive layoffs. They haven't met quota. They're getting rid of the entire supercharger team. A wing of Tesla, and it's just people are feeling the financial crunch, so they're making moves. And of course, what happens when they start making those type of moves is the low man on the totem pole is the one who standardly suffers. So real quick, we're going to check out a little thing with Tesla and some moves that Elon Musk is making new in Tesla, and which we're gonna review it real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
Just after laying off more than 10% of its global workforce, Tesla is laying off even more employees, including senior executives and longtime veterans of the company, most notably the entire supercharging team and the executive responsible for negotiating NACS adoption across the industry. Tesla started the week before last with news of a huge round of layoffs. The layoffs were quite broad across the company. Tesla shortened production shifts at Gigafactory Texas and cleared out several teams associated with critical projects there. One of those heads was Drew Baglino, former VP of Powertrain and Energy Engineering, who had been with the company for 18 years and led the 4680 cell project. While his resignation is being publicly portrayed as voluntary, it is speculated that disappointment with progress on the 4680 project had something to do with it. Tesla also lost key executive Rohan Patel, its head of policy and business development, during these layoffs. And as we learned last week, the company also fired its entire new ad team. But when we originally heard about Tesla's upcoming layoffs, the rumors we heard suggested that the numbers could involve up to 20% of the company's workforce. We had seen other signals that layoffs might be coming, but the specific tip came from an anonymous source within Tesla who was correct about the layoffs' timing, though not correct about its scale.
So, 20% of this company's people are going to lose their jobs. And how many of those people know that they're going to lose their jobs? I would assume very few. I understand that businesses have to make concessions. I understand that, nothing is forever. But I hope that people are learning from this, the whole situation where the big three, Stellantis and all those guys, fought so hard to raise all those people's wages, change all those people's situations up front. And they did it. Lots of people were super happy. Lots of people are going to benefit from that. But obviously, as we can see now, lots of people are going to suffer from it as well. Because, I think I spoke about this the last time we spoke about layoffs, is that the people don't, the people who fought so hard to get those raises and to turn around and a short time later to lose their jobs has got to be the ultimate dig, the ultimate disrespectful thing. I mean, at the very least, you would think that inside those, whatever the statement was or whatever they were going to do when it came to, raising their wages, that there was some stipulation there that they couldn't be fired. That's what I would have fought for. That's what I would have made sure was in there. Because they're sitting there, everybody was so happy that they got these raises, everybody so happy that everything changed. But now all of a sudden, you lose your job. So all this money that you fought for, you're not even going to get. That sounds crazy to me. But let's go back to it.
Now, more layoffs have been finalized through an email from CEO Elon Musk to executives, first reported by The Information, stating that 6-year veteran Rebecca Tanusi, Tesla's senior director of EV charging, would be leaving the company on Tuesday, along with nearly all of her 500-person charging team. A few employees will be reassigned to other teams, according to The Information. Tanusi was responsible for Tesla's EV charging business, including supercharging, which means that the cutting of the supercharger team may reflect a change in direction for Tesla. Tesla has been very successful at getting manufacturers to adopt its NACS plug, an effort led by Tanusi, which got her onto the Time 100 climate list, leading many to suggest that it will be able to run a profitable energy delivery business for a long time to come. Here's her presentation from Investor Day 2023. The email states that Tesla will continue to build out some new superchargers, and will finish those under construction. But relieving the team of its duty may signal a reduction in build-out of the system at a time when, if anything, faster charging station deployment is needed. Hello, and welcome back to EV's Queen. Thank you for subscribing us. We provide the most recent and updated news about electric mobility every day. We're thinking video updates. Growth would be more modest until the release of next-gen vehicles like the cheaper Model 2 and Robotaxi products. There has been some back and forth over what form those products would take, but laying off the head of new product initiatives reflects potential problems within that team as well. Further, most of former executive Rohan Patel's public policy team will be eliminated at a time when many public policy challenges around DC charging, home charging, emission standards, climate change, and political hostility to superior EV technology are still looming.
All right, so we get it. I mean, sadly, we understand. Tesla's got to make changes. They're not selling as many Teslas that they suspected that they would. They're not making the money quarterly that they expected they would. And now their employees are going to suffer. And not only their employees, but their executives. So, it's not a situation where, it's just the low man on the totem pole in this situation. And we've realized this about Elon Musk. People who try to stay in the know about these type of things, but we realized this about Elon Musk, specifically when it came to Twitter. Just got rid of everybody. The people weren't doing nothing. They was just enjoying big bags and not even contributing to the country or contributing to the company. As well as with Tesla. It seems like he's pretty much doing the same thing to some degree. Cutting the fat, as it were. Which, we can't, I don't want to sit here and begrudge businesses from trying to make it or try to, make good business decisions that are going to help their future, because they still have employees, they still have people that are getting paid. So, they are still a benefit to some people, but there are people that are losing their jobs, and there's people who are going to be put in an extremely hard spot because the company is not doing as well as it should be. So, unfortunately, that's just an unfortunate byproduct of, successful or changing companies, changing markets, changing inflation and things of that nature. So it's just something that we definitely had to get used to. But it's frustrating. It's disheartening that so many people are losing their jobs. So many people will be put out into the workforce, adding to the list of other people who are losing their jobs, and they're going to have to look around for new employment. So, real quick, we're going to head over to Metro Detroit and check out some layoffs that Stellantis is having. Now, we very well know that Detroit has had a magnificent boom. We can honestly say that Detroit's boom has something to do with the big three. Ford put money into facilities there, into the old bus depot. I saw a story about that this morning. All of the renovations. They just had the NFL draft. That Detroit has had a fantastic growth, and we have to say it has something to do with the automotive industry. But a couple days ago, we found out that they as well are going to have some layoffs. So let's check it out.
Came as quite the surprise out here at the Sterling Heights Assembly Plant on Friday when they started handing out 199 indefinite layoff notices to employees here, especially when you consider that they make the bread and butter for this company, the Ram 1500 pickup truck. The industry's been expecting a downturn, and now it's shown up. This is the notice they received on Friday telling them they're laid off starting Monday, April 22nd. The company's going to file their unemployment claims for them. Unwelcome and unexpected to UAW Local 1700 President Michael Spencer, telling Local 4, quote, "I find it disappointing and disgusting and a disservice to the employees who are currently employed and those employees who were released through mass termination from Stellantis since the ratification of the 2023 contract," end quote. Stellantis' response tells us it's just the beginning, though. Quote, "The company will be implementing indefinite layoffs across its U.S. footprint over the coming months. These actions will help improve productivity and ensure the company's long-term sustainability in a rapidly changing global market."
Too many vehicles have been built up over the last 6 months.
Auto Forecast Solutions analyst Sam Fiorani says that Stellantis is adjusting to a sales slowdown AFS inventory numbers show that Jeep currently operates at about 130 days supply of vehicles, while Ram is at 150. Automakers usually like to run at about 90 days for trucks and 60 for cars. And he looks to higher inflation and last fall's stand-up strike as part of why this is happening.
Where they had built up vehicles before the strike. And then the strike didn't last as long as it wasn't as deep as they expected, so there's extra vehicles there.
And Stellantis looks to compete with its smaller domestic competitors in this SEV transition.
North America is very important to the overall company, and so making sure that they make their profits here so they can pay for a lot of things around the world, especially as more investment is moving towards electric vehicles and other technologies.
And when it comes to that bloated inventory, Fiorani says he expects to see these kinds of layoffs happen at the Warren truck plant where they make the Wagoneer, and also at Jeep plants in Detroit and Toledo. In Sterling Heights, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation or known anybody who worked at a factory. I worked at a couple of factories. The most notable for me was the oldest elevator factory that I worked in college. And of course, just like many factories over the course of time, it got closed down. And the one thing I remember about that, because people who, you realize that people who work in the factories, they get paid fairly well. I mean, you know, the people who worked in that factory with me, most of them had houses, you know, multiple cars, multiple children, family life, you know, the American dream. And then come a couple years later, the factories closed. Those people couldn't find jobs that paid the same money that they were making at that factory. And the one thing the horrible thing that I do remember is that it was three specific people that worked at the factory while I was working there and when it was booming. They all three were married. All three had families with multiple children. All of three of them had kids and nice vehicles. And just the destruction of losing that factory and a couple other places in that area that went down, the whole area changed. It's like a food desert. It's like food desert situations. You lose a factory place where lots of people are making good money and they're contributing to the community and they're buying things from the dealerships. You could literally see when a factory or a big institution leaves how it affects that whole area. For me, specifically in this Otis elevator situation, I saw two people who went from having beautiful families, beautiful homes with nice cars to being drug addicts. I specifically remember a gentleman that had everything, and 3 years later I saw him, he was a drug addict. He was using drugs. Wife had left him. Kids wasn't speaking to him. He was living in one of those week by week hotels. Another person owned a deli that was right around the corner from Otis Elevator. Nice deli, making good money. It's closed. Couldn't afford to keep it open because his main source of income was from those people from Otis Elevator leaving for lunch and going to his deli for lunch. Okay. So what I'm really saying is that these layoffs are a very, very painful thing in the world, and it makes me want to say that, you know, just be mindful of trying to continue to work, even if you have a 9 to 5. I have a 9 to 5, but of course I have a real estate business. I have a online car dealership, I do a lot of other things to the point where if I was to lose my 9 to 5, then I'd be okay. Made a lot of financial moves that I'd be okay, but most people don't do that. Most people don't have the financial wherewithal to make the proper moves. No, most people, if you're making, and it's not their fault. If you're working a 9 to 5 and you're making really good money, then why would you even think about wanting to start a business? Or, after your 9 to 5 is over, you're done. You've made good money. You can go home and chill. You spend time with your family, and in the world we live in today, with all of the layoffs everywhere. Tesla, Stellantis, what was that other place? There was some other places. All kinds of layoffs going on. People are losing their jobs left and right. People are losing their jobs to machines. People are losing their jobs to places that are just lost business because people have moved away. People are losing their jobs because of crime. It's truly a horrible situation. All I can say is that, if you have a 9 to 5 and if your job is at any fashion of in a place where it could be gone, please spend some time trying to find other sources of income. Online stores are big. Cybersecurity is big. I took a cybersecurity class. I only took a cybersecurity class because I plan to open up an EV dealership. But I know talking to Tech Coach Ralph and all kinds of great people that it could be really beneficial if I used it to make money. So I'm thinking about that, but I have a lot on my plate anyway. But please spend time advancing your knowledge, looking to find jobs that you'll love and that you can spend the rest of your life doing, without the idea that you can get fired, because these layoffs are going to affect so many people's lives and it's going to destroy so many people's lives. And I just don't, as much as you can, you want to try your best to avoid situations where like this. It's hard. You can't, none of these people are seeing this coming. You're not going to see it coming if it happens to you. I'm not going to see it coming if it happens to me. But all we can do is try our best to prepare as best we can. All right, so really quickly, I want to end the show with a little life lesson, okay? Car collisions. I run a collision center, so I spend a lot of time with damaged cars that have been collisions. I spend a lot of time dealing with people who have alcohol problems and drink and drive. I really do, and I hate that. So we putting out a lot of things saying don't drink and drive, because hey, it brings me work. I ain't really tripping about that part of it, but I am tripping about the young man I met who almost lost his eye drinking and driving. So here's the thing. When it comes to car collisions, and I probably I'm gonna do some shorts on this or whatever, shout out to the team on why my thing, but I just want to do this really quickly because it's on my mind, and I had to have this conversation today. When you're in a car accident, if you're in a car accident, I want you to follow a couple of simple rules. The first thing I want you to do is contact the authorities. Now, I'm not going to say call the police, because some of y'all are not going to call the police. And y'all definitely, if y'all drunk and been drinking and driving, y'all definitely not going to call the police. But call the authorities. Dial 911. If your ass go to jail, I don't care. You shouldn't have been drinking and driving in the first place. But the first thing you got to do is call the authorities. Somebody has to be somebody has to be notified that you were in an accident, and you have to gather as much information as you can. So call the authorities. Now, in most cases, depending on where you live, they might not even come out there. If it was just a fender bender and nobody's hurt, Probably nobody's going to show up. But still, call the authorities. Second thing, pat yourself down. Pat down everybody in the car. Make sure that nobody's injured. It's extremely important. I've seen situations where people get into accidents and the adrenaline is so much that it takes away the pain receptors, so you don't know that you're in pain. So make sure you're cool. Make sure everybody in the car is cool. Check your neck. You know, make sure you're cool. Okay? Second thing, call your insurance company. Now, here's the thing. If you are not the liable party, if you're not the person who caused the accident, in most cases, you won't even use your insurance. Matter of fact, if you're not the liable party, contact your insurance so they know that you've been in an accident, but don't file a claim with them until you know. Let them know what's going on, so in case that they start tripping and they don't want to file a claim under their insurance, you can file a claim under your insurance and contact the insurance, get you paid, get them paid, and everything will be copacetic. Now, here's the third thing. I don't know. Next thing is that do not, if you get into an accident and the insurance company, because some of these whack insurance companies, what they'll do is they'll send somebody out to do an estimate on your vehicle, they'll see it, and they'll cut you a check. Please do not stop there. In most all cases, the damage to your vehicle, is way more than the amount that they cut that check for. Way more. And what happens is that if you were bring it to a collision center, we tear it down and find any additional damage. And if they've already cut you a check and you've stepped away from that insurance company, then they are not going to cover any additional damage. So, do not accept that. You accept it. You can take the check, but keep the check. And once you take it to a place to repair it, tell that place that you're getting it repaired under whatever the insurance company is. That way, the collision center can contact the insurance company and file a supplement to get the additional amounts paid to get your car back to 100%. Okay? That's the best way to handle a collision center situation. And the best way to avoid being in a collision, don't drink and drive. Most of these cars are built that they'll break on their own. So, you got to be doing some crazy junk to damage your car. All right, my friends. Seems like I got some company coming over right now. It was a pleasure as always. Thank you for tuning in to the Car Concierge show. I'm your host, Chris Surratt. Like and subscribe to the video. Hit me in the DMs. Let me know what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right, and what knowledge you need in the future. And I'm out. Peace.